What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Goes back again for another video, and it's been a few days since I made a video, but it's been crazy around the house and it's been kind of hard to find a good time and location to film. As you know, in the last couple videos I've been making them in this crowded kitchen, but don't worry, it doesn't matter the setting as long as the content is still good. And I'm gonna have a better setting pretty soon in the future as well, but enough about that. I want to get back on talking about the subject that I love to discuss on this channel, and that is Invincible. Now, there hasn't really been that much news regarding the series, like any new news or anything like that. I have tons of videos breaking down speculation and what I think they should do on the show about this, that, and the third, that you can also check out in my previous videos throughout the channel. But I do have a lot of ideas upcoming, still talking about the show and the comic that I'm going to be releasing as well, and this is one of them. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about one of my favorite characters in the comic book series, Conquest, and a possible fight, if he had it, what it could be like, and you know, maybe speculate on who would win in a fight between Conquest and Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man. Now, my first video that I did like this was Alan the Alien versus Thrag. Now that ended up being pretty well. I got a lot of people talking about how Alan he would have got his ass destroyed, and it wasn't really about who would win. It was just how that, you know, it would have been nice to see that fight, you know, even have it occur in a little sense. It seemed like it was a lot of setup for it, but it never actually happened. And I was pretty much saying that it would have been cool just to see Alan throw a single punch at Thrag. It would have made sense, especially given how Thrag killed the leader of the coalition of planets, which Alan was very close to and worked directly under. He answered directly to him while he was doing his reconnaissance and everything, trying to scout out warriors that they could add to the army, the resistance, to go up against the Viltrumite Empire. So they had a very close bond and relationship, and to see him get killed by Thrag right in front of him, that was perfect setup to at least try to do like a tag team fight with Nolan against Thrag, since they both kind of like looked at each other and was just like, you ready? Hell yeah, you know. So it was a lot of setup there. Never really quite happened that way, and that's disappointing. But another fight that didn't even have any setup at all, but would be cool to see, especially if they want to further flesh out these characters and the world and the entire, like, you know, empire of the Viltrumites in the show. It would be cool to see interactions between characters that we never seen interact with each other before. Like, for example, Conquest seems to be an OG of the Viltrumite Empire. He is visibly old, which is something huge with the Viltrumites, because the older they get, the slower they age. So the older you see, like the older visibly that a Viltrumite looks, they're really old, man. Like, Conquest is probably hundreds of thousands of years old, and he has probably seen his fair share of battles and wars. I mean, just looking at the guy, you can tell that he's been through some shit. He has one eye gone, and his face is completely scratched through. Like, half his face is scratched through, and he's missing an arm that is replaced with a robotic prosthetic arm. Now, that happened to him when he was on a mission fighting against I forgot their name, but there's this alien race. They're the only alien race that can actually penetrate through the skin of the Viltrumites. You know, like their powers are, the Viltrumites' powers are nullified when they go up against this alien race. The aliens, they destroy them and wreck them, fuck them up, cut them up, just like they was, you know, fighting any other race. Like, it's no difference to them. So the Viltrumites always have trouble on that planet, and when they're fighting against them, these aliens, that they're the ones that actually fucked Conquest up in this way. And Conquest doesn't really have that much time or story in the series, so that's another thing. It'll be cool if they flesh out his backstory and actually show a scene of that happening, instead of just a few little quick pages like they did in the comic. They were actually small, like you had to look hard to be able to tell that was Conquest. It wasn't even blown up in like a splash page or anything, but that would be cool to see. And you know, the only real feats, even though they are some great feats, The only real feats that we got to see with Conquest is his amazing battle with Mark Grayson Invincible in the Conquest arc that took place directly after the Invincible War that lasted for about 4 chapters, 4 issues, I believe, and then the rematch fight that they had during the Viltrumite War when Mark and when Mark and Conquest fought again, and Mark ended up strangling him to death, and both of them went flying into orbit of another planet, crashing down, and Conquest actually punched through Mark Grayson's stomach. He was punching his stomach several times, hard as hell. Then he ended up punching through his entire stomach, impaling his stomach, like putting his entire fist through Mark Grayson's stomach and his back, like he went all the way through, and then he grabbed his entrails and squeezed them, just squeezed, like he just wanted to take Mark with him. If anything, he like, bro, I might die, but guess what, I'm about to take you with me, bro. And he was just squeezing on to the guts. I still remember, and it don't matter how serious stuff get, Conquest, he just will not admit defeat. He will not get scared. He looking at Mark Grayson's face, smiling. He just like, very good, da 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 da. And then he just like, nah, man, you hiding behind that smile, but rest assured, you gonna die today, nigga. I'm gonna make sure of it. Yeah. Man, I love the fights between Mark Grayson and Conquest. They're so beautiful. I'm talking about something that ain't even the topic of the video, but anyway, man, 6 minutes in, I'm finally gonna start talking about. But really what I was doing was I was just going over the feats of Conquest to see how they match up against Nolan. Now, Nolan Grayson, we have seen him all throughout the series. Now, as far as feats go, I guess the best thing I could do with him is just talk about the times that he fought against other Viltrumites, because he never fought against Conquest. Now, as far as Viltrumites in power levels go, I think that the strongest, if you were to go in order, would definitely be Grand Admiral Thrag and then Conquest. And then, you know, you got all the subordinates and stuff like that. But as far as the main ones, I say Thrag is first and then Conquest. Now, we've seen Nolan fight against Thrag, I think it's 3 times at least. Yeah, 3 times. And in all the times that Nolan fought against Thrag, he done got his ass whipped. Not whooped, whipped. I'm like bodied. He destroyed, raped. Every time he fought Thrag, bro, he done got his ass beat. He even got killed by him in the last fight they had, which was ironic because he actually died in these got the same blow dealt to him that he dealt to the Immortal in the beginning of the series, where he punched through his torso, impaled him, then got his other arm and did like a little karate chop to like cut his body in half. Like the Viltrumite, they can survive a lot of things, but they can't survive getting torn in half, bro. So that's what happened to Nolan, and unfortunately that's how he died at the end of the series. You know, Thrag just punched him through his stomach and impaled him, and then just karate chopped, and just man, I think he had this like little tiny piece of skin connecting the top half and his bottom half. That's how much he got cut in half. Like it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, man, he got his ass beat by Thrag 3 times. And then, of course, you know, the most emotional and the biggest thing that happened was when he was beating the shit out of Invincible in the beginning of the series around like issue 12. But that wasn't really much of a fight. But it did show that he can be very menacing and powerful if he wants to be. But like I said, that wasn't really much of a fight because Invincible was just getting tossed around. He was barely, you know, knowledgeable of his strength and powers at that point. So he was just getting destroyed. And you know, that shit is hard to watch. I mean, damn, that's your son, nigga. Like, but anyway, yeah. So, you know, you get to see how he's just destroying Invincible. And then there's also a fight that him and Mark actually have together when they're on the same side this time. And they're fighting against 3 Viltrumites that came a surprise visit out of nowhere to fight them when Mark found his father on that planet. I forgot the name of the planet, but the planet that has like the praying mantis looking creatures that he ended up having sex with one. They age real fast. Like their lifespan is just like 6 months or something. And he ended up impregnating one and having Oliver, you know, Mark's brother that was born out of wedlock. And then, you know, he brought the baby Oliver back to Debbie, you know, and then she raised him and everything. He became an Invincible and all that other stuff. Yeah, well, during that arc, when he found his father on that planet, they got ambushed by 3 Viltrumites. And they was, you know, it was just a big fight between Mark and his father and those 3 Viltrumites. And that was a good fight. Mark got fucked up yet again, even though he didn't throw a couple good points. He was getting better. Wasn't as bad as his first fight against his father, but this was still early on in the series. Was Mark was getting, you know, stronger and stronger, more knowledgeable about how to fight these beasts, you know what I'm saying, in his race. But yeah, so you got to see more of Nolan's feats in that fight as well. Even though, you know, he took some good hits then too, you know what I'm saying. So it's like every time Nolan fights, it's kind of like half and half. Like, he does badass things, but he gets badass things dealt to him as well. I'd say probably the strongest we'd have seen him fight was when him and Alan the Alien both did that prison break together and they teamed up to escape. But even then he had help, you know what I'm saying? Like they was fighting. I mean, don't get me wrong, he does not, like, you know, you reading through the war arc and you seeing what Nolan Grayson be doing. You be seeing splash pages of him, you know, killing Viltrumites, you know, squishing their heads, punching the shit out of them. So he do get down and dirty. He do get down and dirty. And like I mentioned in a previous video, there was this cool splash page that had Alan the Alien and Nolan Grayson come from both sides of a Viltrumite and punch both sides of his head, and it just got squished like a grape, and the blood flew all out the top, and his eyes came out, and you know, I was just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So Nolan is strong too. Nolan is strong too. But how would he fare in a fight with Conquest? So let's see, man. We matched up most of, you know, all of Conquest feats. I know I listed all the Conquest feats because he ain't got that many. And we listed most of Nolan's feats. I know I probably missed a few, so let me know. You know what I'm saying? You gotta correct me. I was like, I ain't perfect now. You gotta correct me if I miss something. But I know we listed most of the shit with Nolan and all of the stuff with Conquest. So taking that into consideration, matching them up together, who do I think would win? Now, Invincible, you know what I'm saying? The thing about Invincible is, like, it's kind of hard to range his power, man, because, I mean, he gets stronger and stronger with each fight. He gets stronger and stronger with each fight. But see, that first fight with Conquest, I didn't really, inherently, I don't think he was strong enough to take Conquest. But see, Conquest, he has this huge flaw in his character where he kind of toys with his enemies, he toys with his prey, he toys with the people that he's fighting with. He likes a challenge. So I think that if he wanted to, he could have ended that fight and killed Mark Grayson a lot quicker and a more efficient way than than how he went about it. But since he wanted Mark to really give him a good fight and everything, show him a good time, I think he was kind of teaching Mark in a way. At the same time he was fighting, but he was giving him a lot of leeway. And see, Mark, I don't think he was as strong as Conquest at the time. Not nearly as strong, but it was his anger and his rage and his overall adrenaline that was really pushing him and making him fight his strongest in that fight. But I think that Conquest was way stronger than Invincible at that time. He really was. But he got caught off guard because Invincible, you know, he just really was surprising him with the way, like, just his overall determination and what he did. I can make like 4 videos talking about that fight alone. I already made one breaking down the whole fight, but you can still never talk about that fight enough. But yeah, so you got that going on. So let's see. Invincible's father, stronger than Invincible, probably, of course, hands down in the beginning of the series, but was he stronger than Mark at the time that he first fought Conquest? Because if he was, it would have been a good fight with Nolan and Conquest as well. Now, you know, Nolan, he has a whole lot more battle experience. Maybe him and Conquest go back. This is touching back on what I said earlier, what they might do in the show if they add on more meat, if they put, you know, more depth or more backstory in the whole Viltrumite Empire and stuff like that. Conquest, it's no way Conquest and Nolan Grayson do not know each other. Now, I don't remember if they exchanged words or lines the second time they encountered Conquest, because during the Viltrumite War, Nolan, Mark, and Oliver, they was flying through space, and they Conquest, he had like came out a little early with 2 soldiers of his own, and he met up with Mark and Oliver and Nolan. Now, I don't remember if he said anything to Nolan, because it was more focused on Mark and Conquest seeing each other again, because at this point Mark thought that Conquest was dead. He didn't know that Cecil Stedman one of the biggest mistakes that he made, he didn't know that Cecil Stedman actually took Conquest's body and kept him in a facility underground to try to keep him there, hide him and poke at him and study on him. And then Conquest just flew out and left, and he ended up surviving to come fight Invincible again. Now I don't think they exchanged words. If I'm remembering right, I don't think they exchanged words. But I think it would make a whole lot of sense if Nolan and Conquest knew each other. They have to know each other, right? So let's say that you know, we have fights between them, maybe like doing like some training. Like I'd say Conquest would have to definitely be like the war general, like the person that's in charge of all of the warriors. Well, but they all warriors, but the one that's in charge of like maybe the training, or like the leader of the Viltrumite army, something like that. You know, just, you know, like the leader of their military force, so that Thrag can just come in and fight when he need to, but mainly just sit on the throne. You know, I see Conquest being a character like that, definitely. But Nolan and him, they never squad up, so maybe they could fight in the flashbacks or something like that. Maybe you could see him teaching him. Maybe if, you know, if the show is successful, when we get all these multiple seasons, on that part when they bump into him during the Viltrumite War, maybe Nolan will have some exchange words with him then, maybe a few fists. But in a theoretical fight between Nolan and Conquest, who would win? Well, let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I think it'll be a good fight because, like I said, Nolan has battle experience, and he has shown a lot of badassery when he needs to, but at the same time, he didn't got his ass kicked too. But who don't? I mean, everybody get their ass kicked in Invincible at one point or another. But I think it will be a good fight. Now, will he get as damaged as Invincible did, as Mark did? I don't think so. I don't think he would throw him, like, I don't think he would do like as much risky stuff and on the wall, off the wall stuff as Mark did. Like I said, Mark was so angry, he was literally just throwing himself at Conquest. Even with his arm dangling, like he didn't care. He just wanted Conquest. He was just coming, bro. He just wanted blood. He wanted that fade. That's why that fight was so awesome. I think that Nolan will still fight him very intensely, because that's how most of the fights go down in Invincible. People just charging at each other and screaming and stuff. I think it would still be awesome, but I think Nolan would fight him way more calculated, way more with a strategy. You know what I'm saying? But Conquest going up against Nolan, he would definitely be poking at him, poking fun at him, talking shit, talking about how he's a traitor. Maybe he'll bring up old times or something like that. Like I said, man, it has to be like some kind of mental thing there with Conquest as well. He doesn't just throw punches, he talks a lot of shit, and that's like his biggest flaw. So overall, I think it would be a much, like, it would be an entertaining fight to see, and it would be a lot more well choreographed, maybe. I don't know, because like I said, bro, like, this is all just speculation. We haven't seen this, and we have seen the fight with Mark in Conquest, and that is just, oh, it's crazy good. So theoretically, I think the fight has the potential to be better than the fight between Invincible and Mark, only because I think it will probably last longer. And it would be brutal, but it would, you know what? I take that back. Because that's the beauty of it. That's the reason why you like the fight between Mark and Conquest, because of how crazy and over the top it is, and because there's not really any thought being put into these moves. Like, Mark is just going full throttle. I think that's what makes the fight so beautiful. But I'll say this, it will definitely be a much more, like, it'll be from a different perspective, it would definitely be an interesting fight to see. I don't want to say more interesting, but it would definitely be an interesting fight to see, because I feel like the entire fight would be at a different pace, different angle, and like I said, a whole lot more calculated and not just so crazily put together. You know, I feel like there'd be more strategy involved, more choreography and stuff like that. Nolan, I feel like he'd be more in a proper headspace to go up against Conquest. But I don't know. We'll have to, you know what I'm saying? We can speculate about this all day. Who would win at the end of the day, though? I don't know. I keep trying to pick, man. I love Conquest. I like Nolan too, and I love Conquest. I don't know. I really don't know. You know what? I say Nolan. Because you can't underestimate Nolan. And I feel like with his back against the wall, he would do some crazy shit. just like Invincible, just like Mark. Maybe he would just stick his fist or his hand inside his throat and rip out his Adam's apple out of it. Maybe he'd put his hand in his mouth and rip his whole jaw and mouth open or something like that. Like the finishers in Invincible can be intense. So I feel like with his back put against the wall, he might do some crazy over the top vicious shit too. So I don't know, but let me know what you guys think, man. Who would win in a fight between Omni-Man, Nolan Grayson versus Conquest? All right, that's been the discussion for today. Hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are, man. Subscribe for Invincible content and, you know, just anime, manga, video games, all that good stuff. Hit the bell to be notified for more videos like this one. Like, dislike, let me know what you think in the comments. Share it, and yeah, man. Hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Until next time, peace.